Good morning, all. Welcome to our webinar series organized by Mission Kodoba of Muslim Majlis of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. As scheduled, today we will be having the session for the brothers and sisters who will be sitting for the oral examination in this year. Before moving into the session, a kind reminder for the participants who join us today. Please be kind enough to keep your mics muted to avoid any inconveniences. And at the end of the session, we will give you the chance to ask questions. So you could unmute your mics and ask your doubts, or else you can drop a message via chat box. And also, please refrain from drawing on screen while screen sharing is on. So this warm welcome is for Fahma Fahim, undergraduate of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, to continue this program.
Okay, so let's start the session then. Can you all see the board? And I'll just write something. Can you all tell me whether you can see? Wait. Can you all see? And is the board clear? Okay, so this is going to be an interactive session. So you are supposed to answer, the chat box is open and you're supposed to answer while I ask questions in the middle, right? So firstly, let's talk about the topic cell division. So before we talk about cell division, what is a cell? If I ask you what is a cell, so before we go to cell division, we should know what is a cell. So what is a cell? What do you know about a cell? So you are in grade 10 now or grade 11 now, but you must know what's a cell first of all. Can someone, you can chat publicly or privately, whatever. What is a cell? What do you think is a cell? What do you know about a cell? Yes? What is the definition of a cell? Okay, somebody is answering structural and functional unit of life. Yeah, that's right. That's the definition of a cell, right? So what does that mean? What do you mean by structural unit? What do you mean by functional unit? So what do you mean by that? Basic structural and functional unit of life. That's right. You had to add the word. So what do you mean by the word structural unit? So let me give you a simple example. Now, if you take a house, the house is made up of bricks, let's say. So the bricks are the basic building block of the house, right? So the bricks make up the house. So we say bricks are the structural unit of the house, right? Like that, if you take our body, it could be a plant body, or it could be an animal body, or it could be humans are also animals. So there are unicellular structures also. So if you take a multicellular structure like this, so this is the structural unit, right? The body is made up of cells. So cells are the structural unit. And then we say cells are the functional units. So what do you mean by functional unit? So inside the cell, so the basic functions needed to maintain life are carried out, right? So, you know, inside the cell, there are so many organelles doing different functions to maintain life. So that is the introduction to cell. So you know that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Now, the next thing that you have to know is this. If you take the cell undergoes a process called, cells undergo a process called cell division. And by now, you must know by now that there are two types of cell division. One is known as mitosis, and the other one is known as meiosis or meiosis. So now you might be wondering, like, maybe you're confused. What is mitosis? What is meiosis? What about these procedures? Like, what about these two cell divisions? Maybe they are not clear to you, because this is one of the topics that most students find it confusing. So today, if you stay until the end of the session, I can guarantee you that you will be clear with that, with leaving no doubts, right? So listen carefully. It's like a story, so it's going to start from beginning to end. So if you come in the middle, you wouldn't understand, right? Okay. So now let's see why do you have two types of cell division? So basically, there is a saying. There is a saying in biology, like sometimes biology teachers used to say, biology is the only subject where multiplication is the same as division. Now let me repeat that. Biology is the subject where multiplication is same as division. What does that mean? Now normally when we say in maths, multiplication means something is going to increase, right? But in here, when you take the word cell division, actually now if you have one cell, that cell becomes bigger, and then that cell divides into two cells. So from one cell, you got two cells, right? From one cell, you got two cells. So that means after the cell division, has the number of cells increased or decreased? Tell me that. After the cell division, now here you have a cell, the cell became bigger, and then the cell divided into two. So now you had initially one cell, now you have two cells, right? And this will also continue like that. For example, just let's say this will become bigger, and then you'll get two cells from this. This will become bigger, and you'll get two cells from this. So basically, it's cell division, but as a result of cell division, the number of cells is going to increase. So remember, even though the cell is dividing, before the cell division, cell becomes a bit larger. So cell becomes a bit larger and then divides into two, right? So then one cell results in two cells. Then this one cell results in two cells. This one cell results in two cells. Like that, it goes on and on. Now, I just wanted you to understand the concept. Even though we say the word cell division, as a result of the cell dividing, the number of cells are increased. Okay, so that's why there is a quote, there is a saying in biology where they say biology is the only subject where multiplication, division is equal to multiplication, because cell division results in multiplication of cells. I hope it's clear. Is the board clear? Somebody saying the board is not clear. I think it must be your coverage issue. It's clear, right? Yeah, I think the person who said the board is not clear must be having a coverage issue, right? Can you let me know if it's clear or not? Okay, I think it's clear now. I just adjusted the, okay. So let me write something. Let me know if it's clear, because sometimes due to weather, there can be issues, right? Clear or not clear? Please reply, because we can't proceed if it's not clear. Okay, clear? Okay, right. Right. So now we are going to learn about cell division. There are, as I told you, first we talked about the word cell. So you know that cell is the basic structural and functional unit of life. Every multicellular organism is made up of cells, and there are unicellular organisms as well. So if you take a house, the basic building block of the house is the brick. Similarly, if you take our body, the basic building block of our body is the cell, right? So then we talked about cell division. So cell division is a process by which cells increase their number, right? The number of cells will increase by the process of cell division. So even though the word says division, finally the number of cells are going to increase, right? Up to that I said, right? Then now we are going to learn about, as I said, there are two types of cell division. One is mitosis and the other one is meiosis or meiosis. Now, before we learn in detail about mitosis and meiosis, we should have a general idea about the purpose of mitosis and the purpose of meiosis. If you know the purpose behind those two divisions, then the reason for their difference becomes very clear. So let me say, if you take the purpose of mitosis, like we will go to the technical words and everything later by referring the note that I said, but generally, like now for you, just to introduce something. So mitosis is a cell division. Basically, you can say mitosis is like a photocopy machine. So you know what happens in photocopy? If you have a photocopy machine, like what happens? Basically, you get the same copy of what you have, right? So if you take a cell and if you make an exact copy of that cell, then that division that is involved would be mitosis. So understand the purpose of mitosis is to photocopy the cell, right? If you have a cell and if you need a photocopy of that cell, you can use the division mitosis. And I use non-technical words for you to first understand. Later, we'll go to the technical words, right? Then if you take the word meiosis, the type of cell division meiosis, basically, why would we need another type of division called meiosis? Is now, have you heard of the egg and the sperm? Have you heard of the egg and the sperm? So you know what is the egg and what is the sperm, right? So the egg is the female, we call it gamete, and then the sperm is the male gamete. Now you know what happens to these two? Eventually, the sperm will meet the egg and they will combine together and they will form what? What do you call that? Those who have learned grade 11s, you can say. Yeah, once they join together, once they fuse together, once fertilization happens, we call it fertilization. What is the product? Yeah, the product is called the zygote. Zygote, it's a single cell. A combination of the female and male gamete, you call it the zygote. That is you. That is you, the beginning of you. The beginning of you was a single cell, right? So basically, if you take in meiosis, well, let's say the function of meiosis, let's say the use of meiosis is to produce these male and female gametes. Now, why meiosis is not a photocopy? Why meiosis has what do you call? Meiosis is separately, uniquely for producing males and females gametes. Let's see that. Let's see that. We will see that in the just wait. Listen to the story. I said it's a story, so you have to listen till the end to understand the full picture, right? Okay. Now, if you take this atom, you know, at the center of the atom, there is something called the, yes, everybody, what is there at the center of the atom? In an atom, all of you must be knowing this because this is grade 9. Yes, at the center of the atoms, there is something called the nucleus. So that's a chemistry thing. But again, if you take in biology also, in the cell, it doesn't have to be in the center, but somewhere you will have a large thing, large organelle like this. So that is the nucleus. right? So basically, if you take nucleus, what do you like? What's the function of the nucleus? Basically, we say that nucleus is the control center of the cell, or it controls all the life activities in the cell. So you know that the nucleus is the control center of the cell. So if the nucleus is the control center, what is there inside the nucleus? So those who know, can you just tell me what is there inside the nucleus? For nucleus to act as a control center of the cell, like the principal of your school controlling the whole school, principal controls the whole school, like that, nucleus controls the whole cell. Yeah, very good. So inside the nucleus, there is something. What is that something? That is DNA. No, I mean not that somebody is answering protons and neutrons. Protons and neutrons are there inside the nucleus of an atom. Now we are talking, that's chemistry. I'm talking about the biology nucleus, right? In that nucleus, inside the cell. Now, this is the cell. Inside the cell, you have a nucleus. Inside that nucleus, what is there, right? Normally, DNA, let's say DNA. So if you take DNA, what is DNA? DNA is basically what we say as DNA is the genetic material. In other words, DNA is like the information book about you. So DNA contains all the information needed to make you, right? So whether it's your intelligence level, whether it's your hair color, whether it's your eye color, whether it's all that information is stored in a molecule, in a biomolecule called DNA, which you have already learned in Unit 1, right? So DNA is the genetic material. Okay. Now, there is a word called DNA. There are three important words here before we move on to the lesson. DNA, chromatin, and chromosome. So maybe you have heard of these, but sometimes you may be not able to distinguish these three, right? So as I already told you, DNA is the biomolecule, right? DNA is the biomolecule that stores your genetic information, hereditary information, right? Or simply the genes. The genes are located inside your DNA, right? So now if you take the nucleus, inside the nucleus, and I'm drawing the nucleus here now. This is the nucleus, let's say. Inside the nucleus, you have DNA, right? So in the beginning, before the cell divides, we call it resting cell. Resting cell means the cell is not dividing, right? The cell is at rest, like the cell is basically not yet started to divide. So in that situation, if you take the DNA inside the nucleus, the DNA would be in, let's say, we say uncoiled form. DNA is in uncoiled form. Now, note that you are free to write any extra points that you feel like writing while I'm explaining, right? I told you to have a notebook nearby. While I'm explaining, you can write down any important point, right? So DNA in the beginning, it's uncoiled form. Uncoiled form means it's basically like a string. Just imagine you have a string. So it's like a string. So you have, how many DNA molecules are there in a human resting cell? Human resting body cell. I have to be very careful with the words. How many DNA molecules are there? Now, if you have learned this lesson, you should be knowing it, the grade 11s. If not, yes, there must be grade 11 students out there. How many DNA molecules? Uncountable? No, it's countable. It's countable. There is a specific number of DNA molecules inside the cell. Inside a normal body cell, right? I'm not talking about sperm or egg, I'm talking about body cells. Okay, now body cells, we have a name for them. Body cells means, let's say your skin cells, your heart muscle cells, your liver cells, all the cells in your body except the sperm and the egg, except the gametes, right? Those are the body cells, right? So the body cells, we have a scientific name for them. We call them somatic cells. So inside a somatic cell, there are 46 DNA molecules. 46. In a resting cell, right? Cell that did not divide yet. Inside a resting cell, inside the nucleus, there are 46 DNA molecules. Okay, now 46 DNA molecules, do you think they are all the same size? Do you think they are all the same size? Yes or no? No, they are of varying sizes. Okay, so just imagine that you have, now I can't draw 46 here, no? So I'm going to draw 4, right? So let's say we have, now I have drawn four DNA molecules, right? So, you know, if you take your 46 DNA molecules, you get half from your mother and half from your father, right? So half of the DNA comes from your mother and half of the DNA comes from your father. So totally, if you have 46 DNA molecules, 23 DNA molecules came from your mother and 23 DNA molecules came from your father. So still I didn't go to the technical word. I'm starting with the word DNA, right? So if you take, I can't draw 46 here, you can understand. So I'm going to draw 4. So here, let's say the red represents the mother, the DNA that came from the mother. And let's say the blue represents the DNA that came from the father, right? So you have DNA of varying lengths. So finally, there'll be 46 DNA molecules in a normal resting cell, right? So DNA in uncoiled form, this is called uncoiled form. Uncoiled means it's like a string like this. So DNA in uncoiled form, you have a name for that. What do you call that? It's called chromatin. Chromatin fiber or chromatin fiber. DNA in uncoiled form, right? So now this is, just imagine, this is like there's so many strings here. Like just so many strings are there. So before the cell starts to divide, it might get tangled, right? So you just imagine all these DNA molecules here and there, they can get tangled. So to prevent that tangling happening, these DNA molecules, they start to coil. Coil means they just imagine the string is starting to coil. Just think the string is starting to coil. So the coiled form of DNA, we call it chromosome. DNA in uncoiled form, you call it chromatin. DNA in coiled form, you call it, I mean, that's how your book refers to it, right? Even this can be called as chromosomes, right? But to avoid the confusion, we can specifically say this is chromatin and this is chromosome, so that you might not get confused. Even this is sometimes called chromosome, right? There's a question, is chromatin body and chromatin fiber the same? Yeah, chromatin body refers to the entire set of chromatin fibers, right? Okay, so let me finish the story. After the story is over, if you have questions, you can ask, because this is a flow, right? Once the flow is over, you can ask the question. Most probably all your curious questions would be answered by the end of the story, because this is a story, right? So now what I'm going to do is, I have taken some models, right? Like I have taken some chromosome models. Chromosome models means to visualize this concept, I have brought some clay here, right? I have some blue color clay and I have some red color clay here, and I'm going to use these clay to represent these chromosomes and explain you the process of mitosis and meiosis. Right. Now let's see. First, let's see the process of mitosis. Now everybody listen very carefully. We are going to start the process of mitosis. Now, as I already told you, tell me, mitosis is like, what's the basic function of mitosis? What is the basic function of mitosis? Yeah, basically you get a photocopy of the cell, right? You had to get the exact identical copy of the DNA. Mainly we are focusing here on DNA now. So you had to get exact copy of DNA, right? Because all the cells of your body are identical, remember. I mean by DNA. Now, maybe the shape of the cell is different, but inside, if you take the nucleus, inside the nucleus, all the cells have the, more or less, we can say, the same DNA. So to ensure that the same DNA is there in all the cells, there is a process called mitosis to photocopy the cells, right? So let's see. Initially, let's start the cell. Okay, so I'm going to place 4 chromosomes there. So let's say we have two big ones and 2 small ones, right? Just give me a moment to explain. So basically, let's start with 4 chromosomes, right? In 4 chromosomes, 2 have come from the father and 2 have come from the mother. Similarly, 46 chromosomes, 2 have come, 23 has come from the mother and 23 has come from the father, right? Now, before the cell starts to divide, there is something that must happen. So these are all DNA molecules, right? So DNA will double, because now we are going to get the photocopy now. So before we divide the cell, we should get a photocopy of that cell. So in other words, each and every DNA molecule will double. So if DNA doubles, we have a technical word for that. In science, we call it DNA replication. Replica. If you know the English word replica, you'll understand that meaning. DNA replication or DNA doubling. DNA is photocopy, simply. Right. Now what will happen after the DNA is doubled? What will happen? This is what will happen. You will see something like this. So basically you have 1 here. That 1 will be doubled. So you have identical 2 DNA molecules, right? Again, this guy will be doubled, and then you will have something like this. Again, this guy will be doubled, and you will have something like this. And this guy will be doubled, and you will have something like this. First, you have a cell. Inside that cell, let's assume there are 4 chromatins. 4 chromatin. Actually, after they double only, they will become coiled. Okay. First, they will double, then only they will become coiled. But that much detail is not there for you all in your syllabus. So you just think initially there were 4, right? And each will get a photocopy of them. This one photocopies, this one photocopies, this one photocopies, this one photocopies. So the photocopied one is attached to the original one here. So let's say this is the original, this is the photocopy. But then we can't differentiate who is the original and who is the photocopy, because they'll be identical at the end. Both are identical. Now I'll ask you a question here. So now in DNA, what is present inside DNA? We say inside the DNA, the genes are present. What is gene? Basically, if you, let's say for your eye color, there'll be a gene for that, right? So let's say eye color is red. Oh, eye color is blue. Oh, eye color is green. No, there's no red eye color, right? I think no. Brown or something. You have eye colors, different eye colors. Now let's say at this place there is an information about the eye color. So let's say father's chromosome carries the information about black eyes. So here the information will be about black eyes, and here also the information will be about black eyes. But remember, this chromosome and this chromosome, they are same in length. They may be same in length, but they are not identical. Which chromosome and which chromosome? This and this, they are not identical. Why? Because one came from the mother's egg, one came from the mother's egg, and the other one came from the father's sperm. So even though they are of the same length, they are not identical, right? So, but however, they have the same, this is how we say it. They don't have the same hereditary information, but they have the same type of hereditary information. What do you mean by that? If here it is eye color, means here also eye color, here also eye color, here also eye color. The information about eye color is there, located there. Let's say a particular location. So if it is eye color here, eye color here, eye color here, eye color here, but the individual eye color, maybe here it's black and black, but here it may be green and green, for example. So the type of hereditary information may be same, eye color, but the individual hereditary information in father's chromosome and mother's chromosome may be different. So that's why we have used two colors here to show that those chromosomes are not identical. Now tell me, you all answer me, is this identical to this? I'm just asking a question to see whether you all are concentrating. Is this identical to this? Yes or no? Yes, this is identical to this, because how did this come? It's a photocopy. This one was photocopy. Okay, now I'll ask, is this identical to this? Is this identical to this? Yes. Is this identical to this? Yes. Is this identical to this? Yes. Okay, now I'll ask, is this identical to this? This one and this one, are they identical? No. Although they are the same length, one has come from mother and one has come from father, so they are not identical. Okay, then what about this? Is this identical to this? Is this identical to this? Again, no, because they are different sizes. You can see they are different sizes, they are different chromosomes, right? So I hope, sorry, I hope, sorry, I get a cough. I hope that concept is clear now. Let me say again, first you have 4 chromosomes, two chromosomes from the father and 2 chromosomes from mother. And next what happens is DNA replication. That means DNA doubles. So each DNA molecule doubles. So you will have an X-shaped structure like this, right? So now let's say these are called, now in this X-shaped structure, these two, we have a name for them. because they are identical, we call them sister chromatids. Sister chromatids. Sister because like they are in the same family or something like that. From that word sister comes. Chromatid. Now inside a chromosome, we have two chromatids. So if you take a chromosome like this, one chromosome is equal to two chromatids. One chromosome is equal to two chromatids. So you can see here, can you tell me how many chromatids you see in this picture? How many chromatids you see in this picture? Answer, please. How many chromatids? 8. 8, okay. How many chromosomes do you see in this picture? How many chromosomes do you see in this picture? 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many DNA molecules do you see in this picture? Not 4 pairs. Somebody said 4 pairs. It's not 4 pairs, it's 2 pairs. 2 pairs, 4 chromosomes. How many DNA molecules do you see in this? Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically DNA molecule in uncoiled form, you call it chromatin. When the DNA molecule becomes coiled, it's chromatids in a chromosome, right? Okay, so I will erase this part. If you want to note it down separately. Then what happens is the cell becomes bigger in size, and at the same time, all these chromatids will separate. What happens here next is the chromatids are going to separate. Chromatids will separate. Somebody is asking to repeat the DNA. So here you have initially how many DNA? 1, 2, 3, 4. DNA doubled. Now there are 8 DNA molecules in this picture, right? Okay. Then now inside that we know now each one is called chromatid, right? Sister chromatids. Why they are called sister chromatids? These two are identical, right? And then if you want, you can add this also. These two also, they have a name. The chromosomes that are of the same length and having the same type of hereditary information. Same length and same type. They are not identical. One comes from mother and one comes from father, but they have the same type of information. Same type of information means here it is eye color, means here also eye color. Here it is hair, what do you call, nature of the hair means here also nature of the hair. But maybe father's nature of the hair may be carrying the curly hair, mother's nature of the hair may be wavy hair. But hair color. You understand? Hair color. So basically the individual information is different, but the type is same. So if you have chromosomes of the same length like that, you have a name for them. You call them homologous chromosomes, which is not that important in mitosis, but it is important in meiosis. But for now, you can just note it down. This is the homologous chromosome. And these are the sister chromatids. Up to here, is it clear? Before I move on. Is my voice breaking? No, right? Okay, fine. How many chromosomes and how many DNA? Sorry, I'll repeat all the things. There are in this cell, there are 4 DNA molecules. Those 4 DNA molecules got doubled. Now there are 8 DNA molecules, right? Now there are 8 DNA molecules. And now each DNA molecule is there as a photocopy, is there as a photocopy. So now this and this are identical. So those identical ones, you call them sister chromatids. 2 sister chromatids make up a chromosome. So basically, how many chromosomes you can see here? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 chromosomes, 8 chromatids, 8 DNA molecules. Okay. And then what is homologous chromosome? Homologous chromosome is basically a pair of chromosomes. One is coming from mother and one is coming from father, and they have the same length and same type of hereditary information. Same type of information. I mean, let's say this chromosome has let's say this chromosome has information about eye color. So eye color information will be there here, and the same eye color information will be there here, but it may not be the exact eye color. Let's say here, this is black eye, means here it is green eye. Mother may be green eye, father may be black eye. You get the idea? But it's eye color at both locations. So the information is not identical. That's why we have blue and red. They are not identical chromosomes, but they have the same type of information. Understand the English word type. Same type of hereditary information means eye color means at that particular location, eye color genes means that location, eye color genes. Another location, hair gene means here also hair gene. But hair may be wavy hair for the mother and curly hair for the father, for example. Right? There is a question, isn't it possible for the son to get a different eye color apart from the father and mother? That is genetics lesson. You will study something called genes and dominant and recessive. So that is finally the dominant one will be the outcome. There will be 2 genes for every character, basically, from your knowledge. So if, you will study that in the genetics lesson, right? So we can't go to that lesson now. This is only cell division. So yes, there can, like mother may have one color, father may have another color, and the son may have another color. That depends on genetics. That is who is the dominant gene and who is the recessive gene. So that part is not covered in today's session. That is a separate lesson, genetics. Okay, just focus on the chromosomes, right? Now, what happens here is, as I told you, the chromatids are going to separate. The chromatids are going to separate. At the same time, the cell becomes a bit bigger so that it can divide easily. Yes, divide equally. So then you will, at the end, it will result in 2 cells. Yes, this is two pairs of homologous chromosome. One pair of homologous chromosome, another pair of homologous chromosome, 4 chromosome, 2 pairs. 4 chromosome, 2 pairs. Okay. So now what happens is these 2, this gets separated. This gets separated. This gets separated. This gets separated. But just I will keep that person there and I'll show you here. This guy, these 2 are the sister chromatids. They get separated. And one goes here and one goes here. Again, we have this guy. The chromatids get separated. The chromatids get separated. One goes here, one goes here. Remember, we want a photocopy of the cell. Let's see whether we get a photocopy of the cell. Right? And then we have this guy here, the small guy. the chromatids get separated. The chromatids get separated. So here you go, one guy here and one guy here. And you have the last person. The chromatids get separated. One goes here, one goes here. Now look at this cell and look at this cell. Are they identical? Forgive my clay structures. I can't make exact perfect structures, right? But you get the idea, right? Are they identical? Have you got a photocopy of the cell? So is it clear? Right? So basically what happens, you have photocopied this cell and you have got two cells now. One cell resulted in two cells and the two cells have the exact same DNA. So before mitosis, this must happen. What must happen? DNA must double. Because if you want to divide this cell into two, before dividing, you must double them. No? That is why this step happens. The DNA doubles. The DNA doubles and divides again. Right? Divides half for this and half for this. So you have a DNA, 4 DNA molecules. Each one doubles and then separates. Okay? So now we say that we have the result would be 2 daughter cells. Biology favors females. Okay, they say daughter cells. They don't say son cells. Here, the daughter cells basically refers to 2 cells here, right? So there's in males also you have daughter cells. In females also you have daughter cells. Okay, don't worry about the word daughter here. It's just a term in biology. See here, they use the word sister, daughter, mother. This is the mother cell if you want. Mother cell, daughter cell, sister chromatids. For some reason, they prefer to use female terms. I don't know why. Right. So up to this, is it clear? Okay. Right. One of you take a screenshot of this so that we can share it to the group for you to refer later. One of you take a screenshot of this so that you can refer to this later. Okay, done. Now we are moving on to the next type of cell division, that is meiosis. Mitosis, meiosis. Now we are going to see meiosis, right? So first I will explain the process of meiosis, then you will realize the purpose of meiosis, because the purpose of meiosis is basically to produce the sperm and egg, the gametes. So first we'll understand meiosis first, then you will understand the purpose. Right, mitosis, now you will it's clear for you. It basically brings the photocopy of the cells. So when you were young, you were just one cell. Then now you are million, trillion cells. So all the cells in your body has come due to this process, mitosis, except for the sperm cells and egg cells. Sperm if you are male and egg if you are female. Right. Now I'm going to erase this, and what is meant by diploid, haploid, you have to wait. We'll come to that later. Right. Let me clear this up. Hold on. Now we are going to talk about meiosis, and let's see how it differs from mitosis, right? Meiosis, meiosis, different pronunciations are there. Okay. So meiosis is a little bit complex than mitosis, but it's very simple once you get the whole idea, right? So again, initially, I'm going to start with 4 cells as before. Sorry, 4 chromosomes as before. I mean, for 4 DNA molecules. So let's say we have one DNA molecule, another DNA molecule, which are homologous. That means the same length and same type of hereditary information. And then we have the same beginning. The beginning, I'm going to take it the same so that you can compare what happens in mitosis and meiosis at the end. Beginning is the same, 4 DNA molecules. Again, in here also, the second step would be the same. That is, the DNA replication happens. What do you mean by DNA replication? The DNA doubles, right? So this is up to that, you know, from same like mitosis. Now you can see DNA doubles, DNA doubles, DNA doubles, DNA doubles. Okay. Now the next step is where it differs. Now this cell is going to divide into 2 cells. Now in mitosis, what happened? Who divided? I mean, at which location did it divide? You know that basically if you had something like this, if you had a chromosome like this, the chromatids divided, right? In the beginning in mitosis. But in here, in meiosis, the chromatids are not going to divide in the beginning. What happens here is the homologous chromosomes, they are the ones who start to separate. In other words, you have how many homologous chromosome pairs here? This is a homologous chromosome pair, and this is a homologous chromosome pair. Again, let me repeat what is homologous. They are of the same length. One comes from mother and one comes from father, and they have the same type of hereditary information. Eye color means eye color, but individually, father's eye color and mother's eye color may be different. I mean, the gene contributed by the father and the gene contributed by the mother may be different, but at that location, it'll be eye color. And let's say this is intelligence or something. So anyways, not intelligence, let's say maybe hair color, whatever. So hair color like that. So the particular information is there, hair color. That type is same, but individual contribution by the father and mother may be different. So as I said, father may be contributing hair color, wavy hair color, black color gene. Mother may be contributing hair color, blonde gene or something, right? Anyways, so here now who is separating is these guys. This is like a piano. This is like a piano. The pair is separating. The homologous chromosome pair is separating, not the chromatid. First of all, the homologous chromosome pair is separating. So then what will happen? Let me show that to you. So we have this guy and these two people were there together in one cell, right? These two people were there together in one cell. Now they are separating. Who are separating? Homologous chromosomes are separating. This pair is separating. Again, these two guys. They also they were there together in one cell. Now they are separating. So how do they do that? Actually, there are some fibers inside the cell. They will pull these apart to either ends of the cell and the cell will divide. So that much detail you don't need. Just so now let me ask you a question. Now they are separating now. So when they are separating, is it a must that this one should go here and this one should go here? Or can I put it like this also? Can I put it like this also? They are somehow separating. So is it a must that all the father's chromosomes should go into one cell and all the mother's chromosomes should be going into one cell? No, there is no reason, there is no, what do you call, obligation for that. It's not compulsory for that. So randomly they are dividing. Randomly, it's a random thing. It's just a probability. So randomly, this will go here, this will go here, and then let's say this will go here, this will go here. In one situation, it could be like that, or this could go here, this could go here. Any situation, right? It is totally random. So let me just put it like this so that it's nice and colorful, right? But basically what I said is this also possible? This is also possible. It's random. It's a chance, right? So in one situation, it could be like this, or in another situation, it could be like this. It's probability. The grade 11 students or the grade 10 students who have studied genetics, this is what we call as independent segregation. Independent, random segregation, independent assortment, independent segregation, random segregation. So all these different words for the same thing. Like randomly they separate. There is no compulsion that blue will go with blue and red will go with red, right? Okay. So this division is known as meiosis 1. Meiosis 1. Meiosis 1. Or the first division. The first division. Again, in meiosis, there are two divisions. First division, it will separate these two. And again, there'll be another division happening, which is very similar to mitosis. So let's write the meiosis 2. Meiosis 2 now. Now in meiosis 2, who do you think will separate? In meiosis 2, who do you think will separate? Yes, everyone? Very good. So you can guess it. So somebody is going to separate. So it's the chromatids that are going to separate. So basically, you have a situation like this guy, right? So they will separate. Now this cell is going to divide into two. So one for this and one for this. Okay. And then the small one, the small guy, that one is going to separate. So one for this and one for this. Done. And then these are going to separate. This person is going to separate. One for this and one for this. And sorry. The small one is going to separate. That one is going to separate, one for this and one for this. Now you might think that this is identical to this. You might think that this is identical to this. Just by looking, you will feel like this is identical to this. This is identical to this, but these are not identical to these. But it's actually all are not identical to any of them. Each cell will be unique. The reason is actually out of your syllabus. So I'm just going to give you a small hint only. So in this step, listen carefully. In this step, these homologous chromosomes come close to each other now. So when these homologous chromosomes come close to each other, a little piece of this and a little piece of this will be exchanged. A small part of this chromosome and a small part of this chromosome will be exchanged, and that will make every chromosome to be different at the end. So that much detail is not there for you. So somehow you had to believe what I'm saying. Just believe that these two are not identical, because in here something happens to the chromosomes. For now, that's enough. So what I want you to observe, how many cells did you start with? How many cells did you start with? I asked the starting. You started with one cell. How many cells that have resulted? How many cells have resulted? Very good. And in one cell, how many DNA molecules were there, or simply how many chromosomes were there? Can you see? No, not the real 40. In reality, it's 46. Here I am asking. This is 4. Then in the final cells, how many is there? The beginning there is 4. In the final cells, how many is there? 2, 2, 2, 2. So totally 8. 8. So to get the 8 only, this one doubles in the middle. But each one has 2, right? Each one has 2. So 4 has become 2. 4 DNA molecules has become in each 2 DNA molecules. So basically, meiosis is called reduction division. Reduction division, it's called reduction division because it reduces the number of chromosomes by half. If there is 4, here there will be 2. If there is 46, here there will be 23. If there is 8, here there will be, in each cell there will be 4. For example, half the number of chromosomes. The meiosis results in half the number of chromosomes. Now, why is that important? Finally, meiosis results in what? Either sperm cells or egg cells, right? So just imagine if meiosis did not happen. If meiosis did not happen, let's say the egg will have 46 and the sperm will have 46. Then when the sperm and egg joined, how many chromosomes will be there? If meiosis did not happen, I'm talking. If. Then there will be 92 chromosomes. Then you know that this is a fact. Humans, Homo sapiens, humans have 46 chromosomes in their normal cell, normal body cells. If that is a unique number to identify an organism. So if you take a paddy plant will have a specific number of chromosomes. Frog will have a specific number of chromosomes. Mosquito will have a specific number of chromosomes, depending on the species. So humans, Homo sapiens, they must have 46 chromosomes in that zygote. So in the zygote that is formed, there must be 46 means. Sperm and egg cannot have 46. Sperm must have 23 and egg must have 23. Therefore, 23 plus 23 will result in 46. So there must be not a photocopy division. We can't have photocopy cell division and produce egg and sperm, because if you photocopy, then you will get 46, then it will be 92 in the zygote. We don't want 92, we want 46. So we need a separate special type of cell division only for the sperm and egg, so that we will get half the number in the egg and half the number in the sperm, so that when they join, they will restore the number back to 46 in the zygote. So that is basically why we need meiosis. Why we need to reduce the number of chromosomes by half. Because when you reduce the number of chromosomes by half, those resulting cells are called gametes, or the sperm and egg, which will eventually join together and become the zygote, which will restore the chromosome number back to the normal number. If this division did not happen, then for humans, 46 plus 46, there'll be 92 chromosomes in the zygote, which is not a human then. Right, there's another small question. Let me see. If the final cells are gametes, then each of them must have either red or blue in one cell. No, it depends. It depends on how the chromosomes were separated, right? As I told you, this is my diagram here. But if this was the scenario, like if this happened like this, then it will be different, right? Then this there will be one of this and one of this and one of this and one of this. But I said that all the cells that are resulted will not be identical, because in here just imagine, I'll just say for the sake of the person who asked, in here the chromosome, actually a piece of this chromosome and a piece of this chromosome get exchanged. That part you don't have in your O level, but for your imagination only. Like this, a little bit of the chromosomes get exchanged when they meet nearby. A little bit of these two chromosomes exchange. Now, buy some clay and play with this, you will understand. All right. So then when they exchange like this, each cell will be different. None of the cells will be identical. Each cell will be different, right? So the chromosome parts exchanging, that and all is not there for O level. That is why this looks identical to you. If not, these are also not identical, right? All four are not identical. So the first division is called meiosis 1. In meiosis 1, what is separating? Let's write down. Homologous chromosomes separate. Homologous chromosomes separate in meiosis 1. In meiosis 2, what separates? In meiosis 1, the homologous chromosomes will be separating. In meiosis 2, who will be separating? Yes, good. In meiosis 2, the chromatids will separate. Chromatids separate. There is a person asking, in each of our body cells, will there be 46 chromosomes? Yes. You started with one cell. The sperm and egg joined and you've got 46 chromosomes in one cell. That cell copies itself 2 cells. 2 cells copies itself 4 cells. 4 cells copies itself 8 cells. 8 cells copies 16, 32, blah, blah, blah. It doubles and becomes a ball of cells. Then each and every cell differentiates and becomes different tissues and organs. So that is as a result of the process of mitosis, photocopying the cells. So each cell in your body has 46 chromosomes except the sperm and egg, right? Okay. So here, in the meiosis 2, chromatids separate. And in the meiosis 1, the homologous chromosomes separate. Now coming back to the topic of haploid and diploid, right? What do you mean by haploid and what do you mean by diploid? As the word says, hap comes from the word half. Diploid, dip comes from the word di or double. Disaccharide, remember di means double. So this situation in meiosis, let's say, this situation, now how do you differentiate haploid and diploid? Simply, if both the sets of chromosomes are there, one set from the mother and one set from the father, if both sets of chromosomes are there, we call it diploid. If only one set of chromosome is there, we call it haploid. Now let's see how is it haploid and diploid here. Let's see. Now in here, look at this. Here you can see there are 4 chromosomes. Okay. And here you can see there are two chromosomes, or else like say 2 DNA molecules, 4 DNA molecules, right? Now, listen carefully. If you take how many sets of chromosomes are there? In here, how many sets of chromosomes are there? What do you mean by a set of chromosomes? Basically, this is one set. This is another set. Here, this is one set and this is another set. two sets of chromosomes are there. So if two sets of chromosomes are there, we call it diploid. Two sets of chromosomes. This is the symbol, 2N. Here, now how many chromosomes are there here? Now somebody might say 4N, right? But actually some people, like different people have different opinions on that, right? Some people say it's 4N, but according to the correct logic, it's not 4N, it's still 2N. The reason is, still it is the same set. We are talking about the set. It's like, this is like a photocopy of that. You will understand when we go here, right? This is just a photocopy of that. So still this is diploid. Still both sets are there. One set and a photocopy of that. Now here what happens? Here what happens? From these two, from this set, only one is there. From this set, only one is there. So as a set, if you see, now the set has halved. So now we say this is having only half the set of chromosome. So it is haploid. And this is also, again, this was just a photocopy of that. So this is also again haploid. Yeah, why do we say 2N here? And why do we say N here? Simply. So you have to count it as sets of chromosomes. You understand the word set. It's an English word. So the sets of chromosomes you have to see. If both the sets are there, if mother's set and father's set all are there, right? Like if all the sets are there, basically we say it's diploid in this case, right? In here, even though it's photocopied, it's still two sets. It's just a photocopy. Just remember, it's a photocopy. It's DNA that was doubled, right? So as a set, if you see, there are only two sets. But in here, there's only one set out of that two. In here, there's only one set out of that two. Out of the two sets, there's only one set. Is it clear? Or else you can think like, how many homologous chromosomes are there? So in here, all the homologous chromosomes are there. In here, half the homologous chromosomes are there. Just think in terms of homologous chromosomes, then it will be clear. So here also it's 4 homologous chromosomes, but it's doubled in the doubled form. And here, one of that and one of that, half of the set is there. And again, one of that and one of that, half of that set is there. So when there is half set of chromosomes, we call it haploid, half haploid. And this again, it's haploid because we are only bothered about the, basically we are bothered about the particular nature of the chromosome only, right? So this and this is still haploid because it's photocopy. Just see the photocopied natures. This and this are identical. No? In other words, one, let's say one from mother and one from father, one from mother and one from father, one from mother and one from father, one from mother and one from father. Simply one of each will be there. Not both. One of each will be there. So in here, both mothers and fathers are there. But here only one will be there. Either the mother's one or the father's one. Look at this very carefully. Here, mother's one is there, father's one is there, mother's one is there, father's one is there. But here, one of that, either the mother's one or the father's one. Here also one of that, either the mother's one or the father's one. Again, if you look at this, one, no, either the mother's one or the father's one. Right? So you have to see, like, which out of that full set, how many has gone for each cell. That's how you have to see. So in here, mother's one, father's one, let's say father's one, mother's one, father's one, mother's one. Still, this is father's one, mother's one, father's one, mother's one. So even though it has doubled, still you have father's one, mother's one, father's one, mother's one. But here you can see one of that, no, either the father or the mother, 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 either the father or the mother. Both are not there. So this and this all are haploid. This and this is diploid. So in meiosis, what happens? Diploid is converted to haploid. Diploid is converted to haploid. 46 chromosomes is converted to 23. Reduction, division. In mitosis, in the other hand, you have full set of chromosomes, and finally also you get the same set of chromosomes. So 2n to 2n, no? In mitosis, 2n finally to 2n. Photocopy, no? So that is mitosis. Full set is photocopied again. So 2n to 2n mitosis, no reduction, exact photocopy. So yeah, up to that, is it clear? Up to that, is it clear? There's a question in meiosis 2. Yeah, this is meiosis 2 is similar to mitosis. We say meiosis 2 is similar to mitosis because chromatids are separating. Meiosis 1, homologous chromosomes are separating. These chromosomes are separating. In meiosis 2, individual chromatids are separating. So meiosis 2 is sometimes also called similar to mitosis. Okay. Okay, then can someone take a screenshot of this so that we can put it to the board later? Done? All right. So then give me a moment. We will be sharing the tute now, and we'll be going through the extra terminology and everything, and we'll be concluding the lesson with that. And after that, I'll be giving you a short on-the-spot quiz, online quiz. Like I'll be giving you a break and you can do the quiz in that break. And then let's see how much you have understood the lesson. If you understood the lesson, it's only 20 questions. You should get 20 out of 20 if you understood it perfectly. So you can evaluate yourself now itself with the fresh knowledge. And once everybody is done with the quiz, we'll be quickly discussing the quiz and we'll conclude the session. So I will now off the video and come with the screen sharing. Hold on, right? All hear me? Can you all see the board? I mean, can you all see the screen and can you all hear me clearly? All right, so I have sent you the note on this lesson. Basically, this is the entire note, okay? So this is the entire note on the lesson. I just gave you for you to refer if you want. But we are going to focus on the cell division part, right? That's the lesson for today. So let's just review all what we learned by going through the note, right? So I hope you can see and I hope my voice is clear. So cell growth and cell division. Growth is a basic feature of organisms. So you know that, wait, hold on. How do you get the annotations here? I guess annotation is disabled. Okay, anyways, I can't draw on the screen. I'm like a participant here. I think I'm a participant in this case anyways. Okay, so right. So basically growth is a feature of like basic feature of an organism. So you know that organisms have 8 characters to distinguish as living things. You might have learned cellular organization, respiration, irritability, right, like that. So there are 8 characters that are considered to consider something as living. At least some of the characters must be there to consider something as living, right? So growth is a basic feature. So what is the definition of growth? Growth of a cell is the irreversible increase of size or dry mass. So what do you mean by size? You know, the volume, the cell becomes bigger in size. So that is called the growth of the cell, or else the mass of the cell increases. Now, what do you mean by dry mass here? Dry mass means the mass considered without the water. Now, you know that in a cell, a large percentage of the cell is made up of water, right? So if you take if you exclude the water and take the mass only for of the other components other than water, that mass is considered as dry mass. So the increase in the dry mass is only growth. Now, for example, into a plant cell, if a plant cell absorbs water and becomes bigger in size, that is not considered growth because that is reversible. Plants can become filled with water and then plants can become plant cells become bigger and smaller by absorbing water and losing water. So that is reversible. So absorbing water and losing water is reversible. So that's not growth. Growth means it must be irreversible increase in the size and mass. So the mass means we don't refer to water here. We refer to the dry mass. Okay. But a cell has a limit to grow. So it cannot keep on growing further. So after the cell reaches a certain limit, it will start to divide. So that is the story. So what is the definition of cell division? Cell division is the process by which new cells are formed by the division of cellular materials. That means, now let's say if one cell has 2 mitochondria, basically not only the DNA is doubling, everything inside the cell will double. All the cellular material must be distributed among the 2 cells that are formed newly. So if there are 2 mitochondria, they will also double and become 4 mitochondria, so that each new cell will have 2 mitochondria, 2 mitochondria. Like that, all the organelles will be distributed. All the new cells will be formed by the division of cellular materials. All the materials will be divided. To complete the cell division of a eukaryotic cell, first the nucleus should divide and then the cytoplasm. So, you know, inside the nucleus, the DNA is there. So, nuclear division is basically, nuclear division means the DNA is dividing. The DNA is there inside the nucleus, the DNA is dividing. Dividing means DNA, what we studied now, mitosis and meiosis. The DNA gets separated, right? And then only the cytoplasm will divide. This is the cytoplasm. So you can see after the DNA is doubled only, first you have a particular amount of DNA, then the DNA is doubled. Let's say if this is mitosis, then the cytoplasm will divide. So I hope you know the word cytoplasm, right? Okay. What do you mean by irreversible increase? I told you now irreversible. It's an English word, right? Irreversible means irreversible, not reversible. You can't go back. I mean, if you become big, can you become small again? Can you become to your small size? Can you go back to grade 1 size? No, right? It's irreversible. Like that, cells, when they become big, they cannot become back small again. But plant cells, when they absorb water, they can become bigger and then smaller. That is why we are talking about increase, which is irreversible. So just by absorbing water, if a plant cell becomes big, that is reversible. So that's not considered as growth. Just because a plant cell absorbed some water and became big, that's not growth, right? That is just, that's a reversible process, right? Okay, then you know that nucleic acids are the biomolecules that store and transfer genetic materials from generation to generation. So this is something that you already know from unit 1. There are two types of nucleic acid, DNA and RNA. So this is what I told you. DNA in its uncoiled form is known as chromatin, or sometimes we call that also chromosome, which is thread-like. So look at this picture here. So inside the nucleus, there is something called nucleolus here. Nucleolus is another suborganelle inside the nucleus. So that's not much important for us. So inside the nucleus, there are thread-like structures here. Those thread-like structures, you call it chromatin. Chromatin. So it's easy if you know that word. So even though the book uses the word chromosome, right? But that's it's also called chromosome, but it's more specifically called chromatin. So it's uncoiled. So before the cell division, the DNA is replicated. In other words, the DNA is doubled. So all what I said is there in the note. And the DNA is coiled tightly with proteins and now called as double chromatid chromosome or sister chromatids in a chromosome. Now you can see how many DNA molecules are in this picture. Can you tell me how many DNA molecules are there in this picture? In this. Answer, please. Very good. You can see that there are 4 strands, 4 thread-like structures, 4 chromatin, 4 DNA. How many DNA molecules are there in this? How many DNA molecules are there in this? Let's see how many of you get it correct. How many DNA molecules are there in this? Yes, answer. It's a simple question. 8. That's right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 4 has become 8, no? So in the middle, what happened? In the middle, each and every DNA molecule doubled, right? First they double and then only they become coiled, okay? So each thread-like structure doubled and became 4 plus 4, 8. Then they coiled and became this structure. So we call those sister chromatids. They are identical to each other. This and this are identical to each other. Inside a chromosome, the sister chromatids are identical to each other. So that's what we learned, right? So here is another picture showing this is the DNA. The DNA is tightly coiled and it becomes a chromosome. Remember, one DNA is one chromatin one DNA doubles and becomes this structure which is called the chromosome. So in other words, in the X structure, there are 2 DNA molecules. In the in this X structure, there are 2 DNA molecules, right? Okay. The number of chromosomes in an ordinary somatic cell of a species is constant. What do you mean by somatic cell again? The body cells, liver cells, heart cells, muscle cells, any cell other than the sperm and egg, the body cells, we call it somatic cell. The number of chromosomes is constant and specific to a species. For example, humans have 46, frogs have 26, paddy has 24. It's a unique number, right? So a human child inherits the 46 chromosome, 23 from father and 23 from mother. So we say 23 pairs of chromosomes are there, 23 homologous pairs, right? Listen to this statement. The same type of hereditary information is borne by each pair of chromosomes. They never said that homologous chromosomes are identical. They only said that same type of information is there. So hair color means hair color, but individually it may be black hair and blonde hair, right? Not the same, not identical, but same type of hereditary information. So this is the official definition of homologous chromosomes. A pair of chromosomes which contains the same type of hereditary information, one from mother and one from father, is called homologous pair of chromosomes. So as you already know this story, so egg has 23, sperm has 23, so that zygote will have 46. So 46 is actually 23 pairs. 23 different sizes of chromosomes are there. 46, one from mother, one from father each, right? So then if you take the embryo, so the zygote divides and divides and divides by mitosis and forms the embryo, and all the cells in the embryo have identical copies of DNA. So 46, 46, 46 in all the cells, right? So here, this is the diagram for you. This is for you to fill. So you can use nice colors like red color and blue color, preferably whatever the color you like. And you can draw the mitosis and meiosis. And I suggest you to play with clay and, you know, be familiar with it so that when you actually do it with yourself, then you will be more thorough with that, right? So you can play with some chromosome models. You can use clay. You can use any type, anything that you feel is appropriate. Clay is easy, so you can easily remove and bend, right? So somehow in your book, unfortunately, it's all the chromosomes are given in black color. So that's not what do you call, like you cannot differentiate or you cannot understand anything from that. So it's better if you draw here on your own using the color codes. You can use my explanation to fill that, right? Now let's talk about the differences between mitosis and meiosis, the description. So here this is meiosis and this is mitosis. Okay, I have typed mitosis this side and meiosis this side. So first mitosis. What happens in mitosis? The number of cells are increased but maintaining constant number of chromosomes, 46 to 46, photocopy, right? First the nucleus divides and then the cytoplasm divides, and finally how many cells are produced? Two cells, two identical daughter cells, just a photocopy of the mother cell. While in meiosis, this is the cell division that halves the number of chromosomes. 46 becomes 23. Meiosis takes place in two stages. The first stage is called reduction because the homologous chromosomes are separating. And the second stage of meiosis is very similar to mitosis. And then you have to remember the significance. Significance means like the uses of mitosis and the uses of meiosis. So basically, mitosis is for the growth. From one cell, you became a multi-million, multi-trillion cell body, right? So to grow, you need mitosis because all your cells must be photocopies having same DNA, 46, 46, 46. All your cells must have the same DNA. So for growth, you need mitosis. And if you take an asexual reproduction method, so if you take, for example, if you take, let's say, bacteria, it can divide into, it can grow and divide into two, right? So that's very similar to mitosis. So it's an asexual reproduction method. And even in plants, we have asexual reproduction method, which follow mitosis, right? So it's all the cells are basically having the same photocopy as the mother cell, right? And then if you have a wound in your body, then that the place where there was a wound, we have to replace with new cells. So all those new cells must be having 46 chromosomes again, just like all the other body cells. So again, for that also we use mitosis, right? So you have to just remember, in case they ask you to list down the uses of mitosis, you can write down these. And obviously in meiosis, the number of chromosomes should be kept constant from generation to generation. That means from your father to you, you get 23, 23. So from one generation to the next generation, the number is kept constant. So that 23 plus 23 equals 46, right? So it's, look at this statement. It's from generation to generation. Here the constant number within the body cells, right? Here 46 within our body cells, within our own body cells, it's kept constant. Here constant from generation to generation, right? Then the next statement, it says it helps in evolution due to variations that occur in chromosomes. I told you that the chromosomes, if you remember, the chromosomes are independently separated, and the chromosomes also exchange some parts during the cell division. So because of that, there'll be variations in the organisms that are formed. So you, even though you are a mixture of your father and mother, you will never look exactly like your mother, or you will never look exactly like your father. You will have features of both. So that means there are variations in meiosis, right? So the meiosis takes place during formation of gametes. That's the very most important thing. If you take humans, for example, like higher organisms like humans, the gametes are eggs and sperm. So after the gametes are fused, the number of chromosomes should be remain constant. So to make that to make the number remain constant, the number of chromosomes should be halved. So that's why 46 became 23. That's why then 23 plus 23 will become 46 again. So when the chromosomes are halved, we say it is haploid, and sperms and eggs should possess only one chromosome of each pair. Out of the two homologous chromosomes, only one homologous chromosome will be going to the sperm and egg. I hope you saw all that, right? So somebody saying in films there is double acting, father and mother, sorry, father and son. Yeah, that's not practically possible. Father and son cannot be exactly identical, right? And when these gametes fuse to form the zygote, so as I said, sperm N, sperm haploid, egg haploid, haploid plus haploid becomes diploid. So it restores the chromosome number. So 23 plus 23 will become 46, and it restores the chromosome number 46 for humans. So then finally, I've just taken the same table that's there in your book. Differences between mitosis and meiosis. Now, here, meiosis takes place in two divisions: meiosis 1, meiosis 2, and mitosis is only one division, right? And then meiosis, to halve, basically meiosis is to halve the cells now. So meiosis takes place only in diploid cells, because to halve something, you must have the full set of chromosomes. But mitosis, remember, mitosis is just a photocopy, right? So the photocopy can happen even for a haploid cell, even for a diploid cell. So that's how you have to think logically. So some of you all, I think, may be confused with this word. It's not a mistake in your book, it's correct. Mitosis can happen in both diploid and haploid cells. The one I drew was a diploid cell mitosis, but it can also happen for a haploid cell, basically because it's photocopy, right? And in meiosis, there are variations, but in mitosis, there are no variations. Very rarely there can be variations. In meiosis, there are 4 cells at the end. In mitosis, there are 2 cells at the end. And in meiosis, the cell receives half the number of chromosomes. In mitosis, it's the same number of chromosomes. And in meiosis, the final cells are different from the mother cell. In mitosis, the final cells, the daughter cells, are similar to the mother cell. So yes, that's the end of the explanation. So with that, we are done with the explanation. So I will give you a small quiz now, just 5 minutes. You can quickly do that and let's see whether you have understood or not. So if you got 20 out of 20 marks, then you have understood. But before we proceed, if you have any clarifications to make, can you tell me? Grandparents. Yeah, so all this is genetics. Grandparents are similar to your parents are similar to you, but it's all coming from generation to generation. It's similar, but we can't say they are identical, right? Meiosis results in variations, sperm and egg. Right, if you have any questions, quickly tell me, or else we can go to the exam. Can you show mitosis in haploid? Well, you can try it on your own. So you have 2 chromosomes, double the 2 chromosomes and divide the chromatids. That's it. Can you explain the first difference in the table? So first difference, meiosis, there are 2 divisions. Can you remember I wrote in the board meiosis 1, meiosis 2. First, 1 cell divides and becomes 2 cells. Then 2 cells divides and becomes 4 cells. Now the 2 divisions are there. Is that clear? Mitosis only 1 division. Won't cell division occur in prokaryotes? No, I said bacteria. So bacteria, cell division happens, but we don't call it mitosis and meiosis. We have a separate name for that. For bacteria, we say binary fission, which is very similar to mitosis. The term is different. Yes. Wait. 23 chromosomes come from mother, 23 chromosomes come from father. Now, do father and mother have 23 chromosomes? No. Father has 46. Mother has 46. Father produces sperm. Father's sperm has 23. Mother has 46. Mother produces egg. Mother's egg has 23. Mother's egg has 23. Father's sperm has 23. That 23 and this 23 join together and forms you, who is 46. Is that clear? Let me repeat if you want. Well, this session is recorded. You can replay what I'm saying several times and listen again also. Teacher, can you explain the third point? As I said, in meiosis, there are variations happening because I told you that the chromosome parts are getting exchanged. Can you remember? I pluck a piece of the clay and I exchange the clay and showed you. That thing happens in meiosis, but that thing does not happen in mitosis. Mitosis is exact photocopy. In meiosis, all that jumbling happens. So because of that, there are variations, there are differences. Okay. How are twins formed? How are twins formed? That's not relevant to this lesson, right? That's relevant to reproduction. There are 2 types of twins, identical twins, non-identical twins. So it's not relevant to this lesson. We are running out of time. How many chromosomes do mother and father have? Mother has 46. Father has 46 in normal cells, like a normal human being. But mother will produce egg, no? That egg will have 23 due to meiosis. Father will produce sperm now. That sperm will have 23 due to meiosis. Now that sperm which has 23 and that egg which has 23 join together and forms the zygote which has 46, restoring back the number. Then you have 46. You will become a mother one day, and you, let's say you have 46 and you produce egg. The egg will have 23, and your husband, let's say the father, that person will produce the sperm that will also have 23. From 46 to 23, add together you get 46 for your child, right? Can you repeat mitosis in haploid? I told you mitosis is a photocopy. So mitosis can happen as a photocopy in a haploid cell, or else it can happen in a diploid cell. The one I drew, the one that is shown in your book, is mitosis for a diploid cell. You can try drawing it for mitosis in a haploid cell. Take 2 chromosomes and do it if you want. Take 1 long chromosome and 1 short chromosome and do the mitosis in haploid. It's possible. It's just the photocopy. Just double the DNA and divide the chromatids. Okay. Okay, that's we are running out of time. So quickly, let's do the quiz. I'll put the link. Those who have doubts, you can ask me the doubts. Until that, I'll put the link for others who don't have doubts to do the quiz. The quiz will be coming in the group, so I'll be sending that. Wait. Okay, the quiz link is there. Do it now. The time starts now, 9:20, 9:25. I will discuss. Until that, let's see if there's any question here. How can we identify whether something is an egg or a sperm from the results of meiosis? Well, just by looking at the cell, you can't identify actually, unless you know unless you see it under the microscope or something. We cannot identify which is egg and which is sperm. From one mother cell, you will get 4 daughter cells. So from one cell, you get 4 sperms. If it's a male, and if it's a female, from one cell, you get 4 eggs. Can you send the link to the chat box of Zoom? Wait, I have it. Okay, so I'll discuss it, right? So I think the time is enough. So some mosquito body cells have 8 chromosomes. After mitosis, you would expect the resulting mosquito daughter cell to have. So 8 photocopied. After mitosis, you will have the same number. So it's going to be 8. It's going to be 8. So that's the correct answer. Okay. And the same mosquito above, the gamete cells would have. So what are gametes? So basically, if you take humans, the gametes are sperms and eggs. Similarly, so gametes have half the number of chromosomes, right? So if the original number is 8, if the diploid number is 8, then the gamete would be having 4. So that's the answer. Human gametes are, so gametes are basically sperm cells and egg cells, right? Human body cells, also known as somatic cells, they have how many chromosomes? 46 chromosomes. And human gamete cells, sperm cells or egg cells, have how many chromosomes due to what division? So sperms and eggs have 23 chromosomes due to meiosis. Meiosis half the chromosome number. Right, and then looking at this figure, you're supposed to count and tell how many chromosomes and how many chromatids are there. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, each sister chromatids. So, you know, these are sister chromatids. This and this, they are sister chromatids. This and this, sister chromatids, sister chromatids. So there are 6 chromatids and 1, 2, 3, 3 chromosomes. So respectively, they have asked, so first the number of chromosomes, 3, and the number of chromatids, 6, right? And other chromosomes are homologous. So the easy way to see whether they are homologous is to see whether the length is same. So no, the lengths are not same. So it's not homologous. And meiosis results in 4 cells. So these two answers are out. It results in 4 cells, 4 haploid N cells. Haploid means N, 4 cells, right? 4 haploid cells. Meiosis results in. Mitosis results in 2 cells and they are exact photocopy. So 2 diploid 2N cells. For the regeneration of lost body parts, for growth of body, and for healing wounds, the cell division process involved is basically we have to just get the exact copy of the lost part or exact copy of the cells to replace the wound. So it's going to be mitosis. For the production of eggs and sperms, the cell division involved is meiosis. And the process shown in the figure below demonstrates. So 2N, 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 2N. So just photocopy, right? So this is what? Mitosis. And here you have 2N, 2N, NN, NN. So 2 divisions are there. So 2N to N finally, that is meiosis. In mitosis, the 2 resulting daughter cells are, listen very carefully, all the cells are not identical. So different from the mother cell and different from each other as well. Remember that. They are different. Obviously, they're different from the mother cell because it's half the number of chromosomes. And at the same time, they are different from each other as well. In meiosis, that is mitosis. Sorry. Mitosis, identical to the mother cell and identical to each other. Meiosis, different from mother cell and different from each other as well. The process that maintains a constant number of chromosomes from generation to generation, then from constant number of chromosomes is meiosis. Constant number of chromosomes in our body cells by photocopying the cells, that is mitosis, right? And then 1 chromatin fiber is equal to 1 DNA molecule. This statement is true, right? And cells usually divide after the DNA replication. So first the DNA replication happens and then the cells divide. So body cells have 92 chromosomes after DNA replication. No. So in the beginning they have 46. They have 92 DNA molecules, but the chromosomes are still considered as 46, right? So this statement is false. Cells usually divide after the DNA replication. So body cells have 92 chromatids after DNA replication. That's true because chromatids basically 46 becomes 92, right? Yeah, so that's it, right? 20 questions to evaluate your knowledge. So how many of you got, let's see, as a summary? Okay, there are some students who got 100, 90, majority has got 80. Okay, so who got 100? 3 people got 100. So yeah, so you can see that the graph is more or less shifted towards this normal graph. No, you might have studied in maths. The normal graph is supposed to be like this, but in this case, most of the students have got more than 50. So there are very few students with low marks, and most students have got high marks. Okay, that means you have understood the lesson well, and I hope most of your doubts in this lesson are clear. So, in case you have any doubts, the number is mentioned in the tune. You can not call me, you can drop a WhatsApp message and ask me any further doubts in this specific lesson cell division, mitosis, and meiosis. Right? Okay, then that's all for today. Then make sure you join our Majlis, which will be conducting more seminars for you in other subjects as well in the future. And all the updates will be coming in the WhatsApp group. Right. I hope this session was helpful. And please send me a feedback, uh, especially the people who don't know me. Just send me a feedback to my number, right? uh, I would appreciate if you give me a feedback and any suggestions to improve or whatever. Okay, then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sister. We hope the session was indeed so productive. More educational webinars and motivational sessions will happen in future, which will surely support you in various ways. You can access our YouTube channel if you missed previous webinars. And please feel free to contact us if you want to leave any suggestion or comments based on these sessions. Stay connected with us for more updates. Once again, thank you for joining us and keep working hard to reach your goals. Muslim Majlis of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura genuinely wish all of you for a successful future. Stay safe and have a fabulous week ahead. Thank you.